18 hours later, Admiral Taman stood on the bridge of the Dominance Eternal watching the countdown timer that marked humanity's remaining time. The massive Veltari flagship floated at the edge of Earth's solar system like a metal mountain bristling with weapons. Around it, 11 other warships maintained perfect formation, their hulls gleaming in the distant light of the sun. Any movement from human forces? Taman asked his sensor operator, a young Veltari named Kex-9 who had never lost a target in 5 years of service. Nothing, Admiral, Kex-9 reported. Our long-range scanners detect only the usual solar system activity. Asteroid mining, cargo ships, some civilian traffic near Mars. No military vessels approaching our position. Taman's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. In exactly 6 hours, humanity's time would expire. They would be forced to accept protectorate status under Veltari control, proving once again that young species needed guidance from their betters. Sir, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council station. Put it through, Taman ordered. Expecting to hear humanity's surrender, Captain Dongwu's face appeared on the main screen. The human looked calm and professional, showing no sign of the defeat that should have been crushing his spirit by now. Admiral Taman, Dongwu said. This is Captain Dongwu of the Earth delegation. We accept your challenge and are prepared to demonstrate our military capabilities. Taman's forearms gestured dismissively. Accept? Human, our sensors show empty space in every direction for millions of kilometers. Your nearest military vessels are weeks away from our position. How exactly do you plan to engage our fleet? Are they? Dongwu asked, and something in his voice made the bridge crew pause. At that exact moment, 50 kilometers away from the Dominance Eternal, Lieutenant Commander Subin aboard the Silent Thunder began the most dangerous procedure in human history. Her fingers moved across controls that manipulated the fundamental structure of reality itself. Beginning quantum collapse sequence, she reported to Captain Jae-hoon. Reality anchors disengaging in 3, 2, 1. The effect was instant and impossible. For 18 hours, the Silent Thunder had existed in quantum superposition, spread across 17 different probable states. It was everywhere and nowhere, real and unreal at the same time. Now Subin was forcing all those possibilities to collapse into a single, definite reality. Space itself seemed to shiver as the laws of physics bent around the human ship. Energy readings spiked across dimensions that Veltari science couldn't even detect. Reality rippled like water struck by a stone. On the bridge of the Dominance Eternal, every alarm system activated at once. Contact, Kex-9 screamed, his voice cracking with terror. Ship materializing off our starboard bow. Distance 50 kilometers and closing. The main display switched to show external cameras. Where empty space had existed moments before, a sleek predator of a ship now floated in the void. Its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal, shifting between colors that had no names. Energy patterns danced across its surface in ways that violated everything the Veltari knew about engineering. Impossible, Admiral Taman snarled. Nothing can penetrate our detection grid. Our sensors cover every approach vector within 10 light minutes. Admiral, his science officer Deck 7 reported in a voice shaking with fear. This vessel, according to our quantum sensors, it shouldn't exist. The readings show it was never there and always there simultaneously. Its quantum signature is what? Taman demanded. It's existing in multiple states of reality at once, Deck 7 whispered. This ship is somehow occupying 17 different probability matrices. By all known laws of physics, it should collapse into quantum foam. Captain Jae-hoon opened a communication channel to the Veltari flagship. His image appeared on their main screen, and every alien on the bridge stared at the human who had accomplished the impossible. Admiral Taman, Jae-hoon said, his voice carrying across the void with quiet confidence. This is Captain Jae-hoon of the Earth vessel Silent Thunder. We have successfully detected and engaged your battle group. I believe that satisfies the terms of your challenge. Taman stared at the human ship that had somehow bypassed every defensive system his species had developed over 2,000 years of warfare. The vessel's quantum signature was completely alien, showing technology that shouldn't exist in the known universe. How, was all Taman could manage to say. You spent 47 years studying what we showed you, Jae-hoon replied, but you never thought to look for what we didn't show you. The communication channel remained open, carrying Jae-hoon's words to every ship in the Veltari battle group. 12 crews of the galaxy's most feared warriors listened in stunned silence as a human explained the impossible. Your species mastered energy manipulation, faster than light travel and matter conversion. Jae-hoon continued. Impressive achievements. But you never learned to manipulate probability itself. On the Silent Thunder's bridge, Subin monitored the quantum field surrounding their ship. Captain, she reported, their sensor arrays are trying to analyze our hull composition. Should I activate the probability shields? Do it, Jae-hoon ordered. The Silent Thunder's hull shimmered and became transparent for a moment, then solid again, then seemed to exist in 3 different locations at once. The Veltari sensors recorded readings that contradicted each other, showing a ship made of materials that existed and didn't exist simultaneously. By the ancient depths, whispered Deck 7, they're manipulating quantum uncertainty at the macro level. They've learned to make large objects exist in superposition. Admiral Taiman felt something he had never experienced in 2 centuries of military service: genuine fear. The human vessel floating before them represented technology so advanced that it seemed like magic. Worse, it proved that humanity had been hiding capabilities that made Veltari science look primitive. What do you want? Taemin asked, his voice barely steady. We want exactly what we asked for at the council meeting, Jae-hoon replied. Recognition as equals. Nothing more, nothing less. The human ship began to move, demonstrating maneuvers that should have been impossible. It accelerated without showing any engine emissions, turned without reaction mass, and at one point seemed to exist in 2 places at the same time. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, they're weapon systems. We can't identify them. Our computers show energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. Taemin realized with growing horror that the Silent Thunder wasn't just demonstrating superior technology. It was showing restraint. The human ship could have destroyed his entire battle group before they even knew it was there. Captain Jae-hoon, Taemin said, his pride finally crumbling. The Veltari Empire acknowledges that your species has met the terms of our challenge. Thank you, Admiral, Jae-hoon replied. We look forward to working with all galactic species as partners, not subjects. As news of the encounter spread across the galaxy at faster-than-light speed, every alien government scrambled to understand what they had just witnessed. In one impossible moment, humanity had revealed that they possessed technology beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. The age of human equality had begun. Deep beneath the sands of the Gobi Desert, an elevator dropped through solid rock for over 2 kilometers. The shaft had been carved with mining lasers and sealed with materials that could block any known scanning technology. At the bottom, a vast underground facility stretched out in all directions, hidden from satellites, spy drones, and alien sensors. Captain Jae-hoon walked through corridors that hummed with barely contained energy. The walls were lined with displays showing quantum equations that would have driven most physicists insane. Scientists and engineers hurried past him, their faces showing the stress of 15 years spent working on humanity's most important secret. He stopped at a security checkpoint, where 2 guards scanned his DNA, retinas, and brainwave patterns. The massive doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing the heart of Project Phantom Wind. The Silent Thunder sat in the center of a cavern so large it could have held a small city. The ship looked nothing like the bulky destroyers and cruisers that the aliens had mocked at the council meeting. It was sleek and angular like a knife made of starlight and shadow. Its hull seemed to shift and flow in the artificial lighting, never quite the same color twice. Beautiful, isn't she? Asked Lieutenant Commander Subin as she approached the captain. She was the ship's science officer and one of only 12 people in the galaxy who truly understood how the Silent Thunder worked. Beautiful and terrifying, Jae-hoon replied. He had been the ship's captain for 2 years, but the vessel still made him nervous. Any ship that can rewrite the laws of physics should be terrifying. Subin laughed, but there was no humor in it. We're not rewriting the laws of physics, Captain. We're just using laws that the aliens never discovered. They walked up the boarding ramp, which sealed itself behind them with technology borrowed from a crashed Zephyrian scout ship. The interior of the Silent Thunder was cramped compared to normal warships. Every cubic centimeter of space was packed with equipment that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. The bridge was a sphere 15 meters across, with 30 workstations arranged in concentric circles. Each crew member had been selected not just for their skills, but for their ability to think in ways that alien minds couldn't follow. They had trained together for 8 months, learning to work as extensions of their impossible ship. Final systems check. Jae-hoon announced as he took his position in the captain's chair at the sphere's center. Quantum entanglement drive online, reported navigator Woo Jin from his station. We can fold spacetime across 8 light-years without creating detectable gravitational waves. Zero-point energy collectors are functioning normally, added engineer Kyung-min. We're drawing power directly from the quantum foam. Theoretical maximum output is limited only by how much reality can handle before it breaks. Probability anchors are ready for deployment, Subin said from the science station. Her fingers danced across controls that adjusted the ship's relationship with the fundamental forces of the universe. We can exist in quantum superposition for up to 72 hours before the wave function becomes unstable. Jae-hoon nodded to each report. The Silent Thunder represented humanity's greatest achievement and its most dangerous gamble. The ship didn't just use alien technology. It improved on concepts that alien scientists had never imagined. Executive Officer Ye-rim approached the captain's chair. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who had spent 5 years studying recovered alien technical manuals. Sir, are you certain about revealing our capabilities? Once we show the galaxy what we can do, there's no going back. Jae-hoon finished her thought. I know, Commander, but humanity didn't reach the stars by playing it safe. He activated the ship's communication system and opened a channel to Fleet Admiral So Young on Earth. Her face appeared on the main display, showing the strain of commanding humanity's most critical mission. Captain Jae-hoon, she said, you are authorized to proceed with Operation Ghost Dance. The future of our species depends on what happens in the next 18 hours. Understood, Admiral, Jae-hoon replied. The Silent Thunder will not fail. The communication ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. 30 crew members sat at their stations, each one knowing that they carried the hopes and fears of 8 billion people. Outside their hidden facility, the galaxy continued its ancient dance, unaware that everything was about to change. Navigator Woo Jin, Jae-hoon called, plot a course to the Veltari battle group. Maximum quantum displacement. Woo Jin's fingers moved across his controls, calculating a path that would take them through folded spacetime to the edge of the solar system. Course plotted, Captain. Travel time will be 18 hours at maximum probability diffusion. What's our stealth rating? Asked Ye-rim. Subin checked her instruments. We'll be existing in 17 different quantum states simultaneously. To any sensor system, we'll have the signature of empty space. Even if they scan the exact coordinates we're occupying, their instruments will show nothing but background radiation. Jae-hoon looked around the bridge one last time. His crew was ready. The ship was ready. The only question remaining was whether humanity was ready for what would happen when they revealed their true capabilities to the galaxy. All stations, prepare for quantum phase transition, he announced. The Silent Thunder began to hum with energy that came from the spaces between atoms. Reality bent around the ship as its quantum anchors engaged, spreading its existence across multiple probable states. To an outside observer, the vessel seemed to fade like a ghost, becoming transparent and then invisible. Quantum transition complete, Subin reported. We are now existing in superposition. Sensors show we are simultaneously here, not here, and in 17 other probable locations. Engage the quantum drive, Jae-hoon ordered. Space folded around them like origami made of starlight. The Silent Thunder slipped between the cracks in reality, traveling faster than light without actually moving at all. They existed everywhere and nowhere, racing toward a confrontation that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. In 18 hours, they would reach the Veltari battle group. In 18 hours, they would either secure humanity's place among the galactic powers, or potentially start the first interstellar war in human history. As the ship traveled through quantum space, Jae-hoon reflected on the weight of command. He was leading 30 brave souls on a mission that defied every law of physics the aliens thought they understood. The Silent Thunder was more than a ship. It was proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or weapons, but the willingness to imagine impossible things and then make them real. Time to target? He asked quietly. 17 hours, 53 minutes, Woo Jin replied. Jae-hoon settled back in his chair and watched the stars blur past on the main display. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when humans stopped playing by other people's rules. 3 days passed after the meeting at the Galactic Council Station. The alien delegates had spent those days talking among themselves, trying to figure out what the human captain had meant. Most of them decided it was just empty words from a species trying to look stronger than it really was. Admiral Taemin of the Veltari 7th Fleet was not most aliens. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominance Eternal, studying reports about human military movements. The ship was 3 kilometers long and bristled with enough weapons to destroy entire planets. Its crew of 2,000 represented the finest warriors in Veltari space. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "the High Command has approved your request. You are authorized to issue the challenge." Taemin's forearms moved across his control panels as he prepared the message that would be broadcast across the galaxy. His species had ruled their section of space for over 2,000 years. They had never lost a battle against any other species. It was time to remind the younger races why the Veltari were still feared. The message went out on all diplomatic channels. Every species with the ability to receive interstellar communications would hear it within hours. "People of the galaxy," Taemin's voice carried the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "The Veltari Empire addresses the species known as humanity. Your representative made claims about hidden capabilities. We find these claims difficult to believe." The message continued with barely hidden contempt. "Therefore, the Veltari Empire issues this challenge. We will position one battle group at the edge of your solar system. If your military forces can detect and engage our ships within 72 hours, we will personally support your application for full council membership." Taemin paused, letting the silence build tension. "However, when you fail this simple task, humanity will accept protectorate status under Veltari guidance for the next 100 years. Your species will learn proper respect for your betters." The message ended with coordinates showing exactly where the Veltari fleet would be waiting. They chose a position just beyond Pluto's orbit, far enough from Earth that human ships would need weeks to reach them, even if they could detect targets at such a distance. On Earth, emergency alarms rang through the halls of the United Defense Command. Fleet Admiral So Young read the challenge message for the 3rd time, her face growing darker with each word. Around the oval conference table, her senior staff looked grim. "How many ships are they bringing?" asked General Mi-jin, commander of Earth's orbital defense platforms. Intelligence Director Hyun-woo activated the main display screen. 12 vessels total, including the Dominance Eternal. Their flagship alone outmasses our entire active fleet combined. The display showed detailed images of Veltari ships. Each one was a masterpiece of alien engineering, with energy shields that could stop the combined fire from every weapon Earth possessed. Their hulls were made from materials that human science barely understood. "What about detection range?" So Young asked. "That's the real problem," Hyun-woo admitted. "They've positioned themselves at maximum sensor range. Our best equipment can barely see them as tiny dots. Getting a target lock at that distance would be impossible." Captain Beho of the Earth Navy leaned forward. "Even if we launched every ship immediately, they would see us coming days before we arrived. They could jump to hyperspace and claim we failed the challenge." The room fell silent as everyone considered their options. Earth's military was impressive by human standards, but it had been designed to fight other humans, not aliens with technology thousands of years more advanced. "There is one possibility," So Young said quietly. The other officers looked at her with surprise. General Mi-jin spoke first. "What do you mean?" "Project Phantom Wind," So Young replied. The words hung in the air like a physical thing. Most of the people in the room had heard rumors about the project, but few knew any details. It was hidden behind so many layers of classification that even high-ranking officers only whispered about it. "The prototype is actually ready?" asked Hyun-woo. So Young nodded slowly. "Captain Jae-hoon and his crew have been running tests for 8 months. The Silent Thunder has passed every simulation we could create. Against simulated targets," General Mi-jin pointed out. "This would be the first real combat mission. It would also be the most dangerous mission in human history," added Captain Beho. "If something goes wrong, we lose our most advanced ship and our best crew." So Young stood and walked to the large window that showed Earth spinning slowly below them. City lights twinkled like stars across the continents. Somewhere down there, 8 billion people were living their lives, unaware that their future was being decided in this room. "If we do nothing, humanity becomes a client species," she said, without turning around. "We'll be under alien control for the next century. Our children will grow up knowing that humans are too weak to stand as equals with other intelligent species. She turned back to face the room. But if we try this and fail, the Veltari might decide we're dangerous. They could attack Earth directly. The silence stretched out for long minutes. Each officer was thinking about the same thing. The weight of 8 billion lives balanced against the chance to prove humanity belonged among the stars. General Mijin was the first to speak. What exactly is the Silent Thunder capable of? So Young activated her personal access codes and brought up files that were hidden deeper than anything else in Earth's databases. Technical specifications filled the screen, showing a ship design unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. 15 years ago, we recovered debris from several alien crashes, she began. Crashes that the alien governments don't know happened. Our best scientists spent years studying those fragments. The display showed images of strange metal alloys and energy crystals that seemed to glow with their own light. We learned how to copy some of their technology, but more importantly, we learned how to improve it. Improve alien technology? Captain Beho sounded skeptical. The aliens are very good at what they do, So Young explained, but they've been doing the same things for thousands of years. They've stopped trying to think of new ways to solve old problems. She changed the display to show quantum physics equations that made several officers' eyes glaze over. While they were perfecting energy shields and particle weapons, we were working on something completely different. Which is what, exactly? Asked Hyunwoo. So Young smiled for the first time in days. We learned how to make a ship that doesn't exist until we want it to. The confused looks around the table told her she needed to explain better. The Silent Thunder uses quantum mechanics to exist in multiple possible states at the same time. To any sensor, it looks like empty space until the moment we choose to make it real. That sounds impossible, General Mijin said. So did flying once upon a time. So Young replied. So did traveling to other stars. Humans have a talent for making impossible things work. She looked around the table at each face in turn. The question is, are we brave enough to bet everything on that talent one more time? Admiral Taemin received his answer 6 hours later. The message was short and signed by Captain Dongwoo. Challenge accepted. The Galactic Council station floated in space like a giant metal flower. Its silver petals stretched out in all directions, each one big enough to hold a small city. Inside the main meeting hall, hundreds of alien beings sat in floating chairs arranged in a perfect circle. The air buzzed with different languages and the hum of translation devices. Captain Dongwoo sat quietly in the human section. His dark blue uniform looked plain next to the colorful robes and strange armor worn by the other delegates.
He had been waiting for 3 hours.
The council liked to discuss trade routes and mining rights before they talked about anything important. Today they would finally discuss Earth's request to join the Galactic Council as a full member. The hall grew quiet when Speaker Vex 9, a tall robot with glowing blue eyes, called for attention. The Council will now review the membership application from the species known as humans. A three-dimensional image appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth's solar system with small dots representing human ships and space stations. The image rotated slowly, showing Earth's modest fleet of destroyers, cruisers, and cargo vessels. These are humanity's military forces, Speaker Vex 9 announced in its mechanical voice. The first laugh came from the Veltari section. Ambassador Crixtal was 8 feet tall with 4 arms and a face that looked like a praying mantis. His mandibles clicked together as he made the sound that passed for laughter among his kind. Look at those tiny ships, Crixtal said, his voice carrying easily through the hall's speakers. They are smaller than our transport vessels. What do they use for power? Chemical rockets? More laughter filled the hall. The Zephyrians, who looked like living crystals shaped into bird-like forms, made a sound like wind chimes in a storm. The Orlok delegation, massive bear-like creatures covered in metal plates, rumbled with deep chuckles. Ambassador Thiska of the Zephyrians rose from her floating chair. Her crystal body caught the light and threw rainbows across the walls. Their largest warship is only 600 meters long, she said. My personal yacht is bigger than that. Dongwoo watched the display change to show human weapons. Kinetic cannons, plasma rifles, and fusion torpedoes appeared on the screen with technical specifications listed beside them. Kinetic weapons, said Counselor Brex 9 of the Helix Collective. The Helix looked like living energy trapped inside a mechanical suit. They still fire physical projectiles at their enemies. How wonderfully primitive. And look at their energy output, added Crixtal. Their most powerful weapon produces less energy than our children's training devices. The laughter grew louder. Even the usually quiet Silith delegation was making soft hissing sounds that meant amusement in their culture. Dongwu felt heat rise in his cheeks, but he kept his face calm and neutral. The display changed again to show human space technology. Fusion reactors, basic force fields, and primitive faster-than-light drives appeared with detailed breakdowns of their capabilities. They can barely travel between stars, observed High Counselor Zeth Prime of the Ancient Assembly. The Ancient looked like a floating brain in a jar, but Dongwu knew it was actually a collective intelligence made up of millions of smaller beings. Their fastest ships take weeks to cross a single star system. Perhaps, suggested Ambassador Crixtal with mock sympathy, humanity would be better served as a protectorate species. We could guide their development for the next few centuries until they are ready for adult conversation. The suggestion brought nods of agreement from around the hall. Several delegates activated their voting displays, already preparing to downgrade Earth's application from full membership to protected status. Dongwu stood up. The movement was small, but his chair's sensors amplified it so everyone in the hall could see him clearly. The laughter slowly died away as hundreds of alien eyes turned to look at the lone human. Captain Dongwu of Earth, Speaker Vex 9 announced. Do you wish to address the council? Thank you, Speaker Vex 9, Dongwu said. His voice carried clearly through the translation system. I have listened to the council's assessment of human capabilities with great interest. Interest? Crixtal's mandibles clicked with amusement. Young human, we have been studying your species for 47 of your years. We know exactly what your people can and cannot do. There is nothing interesting about obsolete technology. With respect, Ambassador Crixtal, Dongwu replied, I believe your intelligence may be incomplete. This brought fresh laughter from the Veltari section. Incomplete? Crixtal stood to his full height, towering over the human even at this distance. We have detailed scans of every human ship, weapon, and space station. Our spy drones have recorded your military exercises. Our agents have purchased your civilian technology in open markets. What could we possibly have missed? Dongwu reached into his jacket and pulled out a small device about the size of a coin. He held it up so the hall's cameras could focus on it. This, he said simply. The device looked like nothing special. It was silver metal with a few small lights on its surface. To most of the aliens in the hall, it appeared to be some kind of primitive computer chip or communication device. A data storage unit? Asked Thaiska with confusion in her crystalline voice. A primitive transmitter, guessed Counselor Brex 9. Dongwu smiled for the first time since entering the hall. It was not a pleasant expression. This device represents 15 years of human research and development. It cost our entire planet's scientific budget for 3 years to create just this one prototype. What does it do? Demanded Crixtal. Instead of answering directly, Dongwu pressed a small button on the device's surface. Nothing seemed to happen. The lights in the hall continued to shine. The air recycling systems kept humming. The hundreds of alien delegates kept staring at him with growing confusion. I don't understand this demonstration, said High Counselor Zeth Prime. Your device appears to do nothing. On the contrary, Dongwu said, slipping the device back into his pocket. It just sent a message to my government. In exactly 72 hours, you will understand what humanity is truly capable of. The hall erupted in confused chatter. Delegates turned to each other, trying to understand what the human meant. Security scanners had detected no energy emissions from his device. Their most sensitive instruments had recorded nothing unusual. Captain Dongwu, Speaker Vex 9 called for order. Please explain your meaning clearly. Dongwu looked around the hall slowly, meeting the eyes of dozens of different species. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet but somehow seemed to fill the entire space. For 47 years you have been watching humanity. You have seen our ships, our weapons, our technology. You have measured our capabilities and found them wanting. But there is one thing you have not seen, because we chose not to show it to you. And what is that? Crixtal demanded. Dongwu's smile grew wider and colder. What we can do when we stop playing fair. The hall fell completely silent. Even the background hum of machinery seemed quieter than before. Hundreds of alien minds tried to process what the human had just implied. In 72 hours, Dongwu continued, You will receive a practical demonstration of human capabilities. I suggest you pay close attention. It may be the most educational experience of your very long lives." With that, he turned and walked toward the exit, leaving behind a hall full of confused and suddenly worried alien delegates. News of the Silent Thunder's impossible appearance spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within 6 hours, every species with interstellar communication had heard about the human ship that materialized from nothing. Emergency sessions were called on a dozen different worlds as alien governments tried to understand what they had witnessed. The Galactic Council station buzzed with activity unlike anything in its 1,000-year history. Delegates who had been preparing to vote on humanity's protectorate status now demanded emergency hearings. The same beings who had mocked Earth's primitive technology 3 days ago were now asking frantic questions about quantum superposition and probability manipulation. Ambassador Crixtal of the Veltari paced back and forth in the main assembly hall, his forearms gesturing wildly as he spoke to anyone who would listen. The confidence he had shown during the original mockery was completely gone, replaced by something that looked very much like panic. The ship appeared from nothing, he kept repeating. Our most advanced sensors detected no approach, no energy buildup, no gravitational distortion. It simply materialized 50 kilometers from our flagship. The Zephyrian delegate, Thiska, stood near the center of the hall, her crystalline form flickering with nervous energy. Our intelligence networks have been monitoring human space for decades. How did we miss technology this advanced? Because we weren't looking for it, said a new voice. Captain Dongwu entered the assembly hall, but he was not alone this time. Behind him walked Fleet Admiral So Young, Intelligence Director Hyunwoo, and a woman the aliens had never seen before. She wore the uniform of a human scientist and carried a datapad that seemed ordinary, except for the way it made nearby electronic devices flicker. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Council," Dongwu announced, "I would like to introduce Dr. In Young, Director of Project Phantom Wind." Dr. In Young was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes that had spent 15 years looking at the universe in ways that no one else could imagine. She stepped forward and activated a holographic display that filled the center of the hall. "Honored delegates," she began, "you have been asking how humanity developed such advanced technology. The answer is both simpler and more complex than you might think." The display showed images of twisted metal and strange crystals that glowed with their own inner light. 15 years ago, we recovered debris from several alien spacecraft that had crashed on remote areas of our planet. A murmur went through the hall. Several species checked their records, trying to remember missing ships or failed missions. The crashes were small, Dr. In Young continued. Scout ships mostly. Single-person vessels that went down in Earth's oceans or polar regions. Your governments never knew they happened because there were no survivors to report back. She changed the display to show human scientists working with the alien technology. We studied everything we found. Your energy systems, your hull materials, your faster-than-light drives. Impressive engineering, all of it. Then how? Demanded Counselor Brex 9 of the Helix Collective. Did you surpass technology that took our species millions of years to develop? Dr. In Young smiled. Because we didn't try to copy what you had done. We tried to understand why you had done it that way. The display changed to show complex mathematical equations that made several alien scientists step backward in shock. The formulas dealt with quantum mechanics at levels that pushed the boundaries of theoretical physics. Your species developed technology to manipulate matter and energy, Dr. In Young explained. You learned to bend space and time to your will. Amazing achievements that we could never match directly. But, interrupted Fleet Admiral So Young, stepping forward, you never thought to manipulate the probability of matter and energy existing in the first place. The hall fell completely silent. Even the background hum of air recycling systems seemed quieter as hundreds of alien minds tried to process what the humans had just said. That's impossible, whispered High, Counselor Zeth Prime of the Ancient Assembly. You cannot change the fundamental probability of reality itself. We thought so too, Dr. In Young admitted. Until we realized that you've all been thinking about reality wrong. She gestured, and the display showed a ship existing in multiple states at once, like a photograph with several exposures overlapping. You see, the universe is fixed. Matter exists or it doesn't. Energy is present or absent. But at the quantum level, reality is actually probabilistic. Everything exists in multiple potential states until something forces it to choose one. The Copenhagen interpretation, murmured Deck 7, the Veltari science officer who had witnessed the Silent Thunder's appearance. You're talking about quantum superposition at macro scales. Exactly, Dr. In-Young said. While your species were perfecting shields and weapons, we were learning to keep large objects in quantum superposition. The Silent Thunder doesn't just use stealth technology, it uses controlled quantum mechanics to exist in multiple probable states simultaneously. Ambassador Krixtal found his voice, but that should be impossible. Quantum effects collapse when observed by macro-scale systems. They do, agreed Intelligence Director Yun Wu, unless you know how to build observers that exist in quantum superposition themselves. The implications hit the alien delegates like a physical blow. The humans hadn't just developed new technology. They had discovered a completely different way of thinking about reality itself. How many ships like the Silent Thunder do you have? Asked this Ka, her crystal form dimming with what might have been fear. Captain Dongwu exchanged glances with his colleagues. That information is classified. But, added Fleet Admiral So Young, I will say that the Silent Thunder is designated as hull number 001. The meaning was clear. If this was ship number 1, there were others being built. Potentially many others. Speaker Vex 9 called for order as worried conversations broke out across the hall. The Council must vote on humanity's membership application. The vote was unanimous. Every species, even those who had mocked humanity just days before, voted to grant Earth full membership in the Galactic Council. The vote wasn't motivated by respect, though respect now existed. It was motivated by the realization that a species capable of rewriting the laws of physics might be better kept as friends than enemies. 3 months later, Captain Jae-hoon stood on the bridge of the Silent Thunder as it docked with the Council station. Through the main display, he could see alien ships giving them a wide berth, maintaining respectful distances from the vessel that had changed everything. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Subin reported from her science station, we're receiving docking clearance and formal welcome ceremonies. Jae-hoon smiled. It seems the galaxy has decided to be polite to us. Can you blame them? Asked Executive Officer Yerim. We proved that humans don't think like other species. We don't just adapt to the universe. We change the rules. As the Silent Thunder settled into its berth, Jae-hoon reflected on what they had accomplished. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through superior firepower or advanced materials, but through the willingness to imagine impossible things and then make them real. The galaxy was full of species who had forgotten how to dream beyond their limitations. But humans had never stopped asking the most dangerous question in the universe: what if? Now, as Earth's first quantum superposition warship docked at the galaxy's most important station, every alien species was learning to ask that question too. The age of human equality had begun, and with it a new era where the impossible was just another word for not yet invented.